Hello and welcome to another episode of The Word for Kids. I'm Jamie and I'm guiding you through the books of 1st and 2nd Samuel in a series of 20 episodes. Last time we learned about the troubles David faced as Saul pursued him and tried to kill him. David went to Ahimelech the priest at Nob and asked him for bread, and Ahimelech gave him some special bread as well as Goliath's sword. One of Saul's servants, Doeg the Edomite, saw this happen and told Saul about it. Saul sent for Ahimelech and the men of his family and accused them of conspiring with David against him. Saul had them all put to death by Doeg, who even destroyed all of the people and animals in the town, except for one of Ahimelech's sons, Abiathar, who fled to David. David hid in the wilderness as Saul searched for him day after day. Jonathan went to David and helped him find strength in God. And that's where we left off last time. Are you ready for today's adventure? Let's go! Saul learned that David was in the desert of En-Gedi, so he took 3,000 able young men from Israel and set out to look for David and his men near the crags of the wild goats. Saul came to the sheep pens along the way, and there was a cave there. Saul went into the cave to go to the bathroom, but David and his men were in the back of the cave. His men told him, "This is the day the Lord spoke of when he said to you, 'I will give your enemy into your hands for you to deal with as you wish.'" David crept up to Saul and cut off the corner of his robe without Saul even noticing. But after he did this, David began to feel bad about cutting off the corner of Saul's robe. He said to his men, "The Lord forbid that I should do such a thing to my master, the Lord's anointed, or lay my hand on him, for he is anointed of the Lord." With these words, David sharply rebuked his men and did not allow them to attack Saul. And Saul left the cave and went on his way. Then David went out of the cave and called out to Saul, "My lord, the king!" When Saul looked, David bowed down with his face to the ground. He said to Saul, "Why did you listen when men say, 'David is bent on harming you'? This day you have seen with your own eyes how the Lord delivered you into my hands in the cave. Some wanted me to kill you, but I spared you. I said, 'I will not lay a hand on my lord, for he is the Lord's anointed.' Look at this piece of your robe in my hand. I cut it off the corner of your robe, but I did not kill you. I have not wronged you, but you are hunting me down to take my life. May the Lord judge between you and me." Let's pause right there for today's word of the day.
Well, hello there. My name's Woody, filling in for my good friend Eugene with today's word of the day. Today's word is judge. To judge is to decide what's right and what's wrong, and sometimes to hand down a punishment. Judge.
So David told Saul that the Lord would judge between them. Then he told Saul, "May the Lord avenge the wrongs you have done to me, but I will not touch you." Then David quoted an old saying which said, "From evildoers come evil deeds." Again he said, "May the Lord be our judge and decide between us. May he deliver me from your hand." After David finished saying all this, Saul asked, "Is that your voice, David, my son?" And he wept or cried heavily out loud. Saul said, "You are more righteous than I am. You have treated me well, but I have treated you badly. The Lord delivered me into your hands, but you did not kill me. May the Lord reward you well for the way you treated me today. I know that you will surely be king, and that the kingdom of Israel will be established in your hands. Now swear to me by the Lord that you will not kill off my descendants or wipe out my name from my father's family." So David did give his oath to Saul, and Saul returned home, but David and his men went up to the stronghold. And that's where our story ends for today. Now it's time for the verse to remember. Today's verse is Romans 12:21. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. One more time. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Romans 12:21. Wow, even though that verse is really short, it's very powerful. When you're overcome by something, it has power over you, and you're defeated by it. So this verse is reminding us not to let what is evil take over and defeat us, but instead to defeat evil with good. Our story today is a perfect example of how David overcame evil with good. Even though Saul had been hunting David down to kill him, when David had the opportunity to kill Saul, he didn't do it. He had compassion on him instead. Because Saul was anointed by God and David had great respect for God, David would not come against Saul even when he had the chance to do so. What about in your own life? Is there a kid at school or church or a sibling who is often unkind to you? What would happen if you had the chance to get revenge, to be mean back to that person? Would you do it? If someone is being unkind at church, school, home, or anywhere else, be sure to tell a trusted adult so they can help you keep your body and your mind safe. It's always okay to speak up for yourself. But if you get the chance to get back at that person who's been unkind, don't use that chance to say or do mean things back to them. Instead, be kind, and in doing so, you will have overcome evil by doing good. That's all the time we have for this episode. I can't wait to see you again soon for another episode of The Word for Kids.